MD Green Gas Limited, Mr. Ravi Agarwal, MD Rajasthan Gas Limited, Mr. Sushil Kumar, General Manager GAIL, Swati D'Souza, Consultant Brookings India, and Mr. Amit Mathur, Additional General Manager, IGL. I request you all to please come on the dais. Over to you, sir.
I'm going to start as PPT.
Abhi nahi. Once this, 1 second, let them go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Light is green. Can you hear me now? No. I hope I am audible now. Hello? Yeah, fine. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Mercifully, we have slightly more people in the audience than in the chairs. And without much ado, we'll start this session. Although the session topic is natural gas demand and supply scenario, but there are several aspects related to that. What I would do is that I would just give you some food for thought and then ask these my friends on the dais to speak on what they think and more on the issues than demand and supply, how they look at it emerging, rather than the actual estimation. So if I can, please can somebody put those slides up? There is a caveat. I'm sharing some slides with you. This is part of the ongoing work that we are doing on demand and supply assessment. So these are not final figures. I have stolen them from the research team just to share with you, and please do not quote these. We will give you the figures as and when we have them. But we are inching towards that. We are only looking at the way of confirming some of these figures. Excuse me, have I got this wrong? Yes. Now, if you see from this that we have tried to do some kind of an examination till 2030. Gentlemen, please again, ladies and gentlemen, these figures are just for you. If you see, the city gas segment is emerging as the biggest segment after 2019. We are not talking about 18-19 because that is slightly different. The increase happens about 2022, and that is the time when the maybe the present ones start. We are today in 2019, so 2022 we expect some demand to be generated through this. Now there is a lot of conditions in this that we have considered, and the CGD demand could be far more if you take a very optimistic view. These figures, as you see, are in MMSCMD. Now, we have compared our demand estimates with some of the earlier demand estimates. We used to do a study with KPMG, and we have compared these with the earlier demand estimates that we have been doing. Sorry, this keeps shifting. So as you see, we are looking at a consolidated demand of about 313 MMSCMD by that time, which is considerably less than what is division. So these are not very acceptable figures, so we don't talk much about them. These are, of course, there is of course some issues. These could be slightly more, but that would need a great push, and also some considerations on the uncertainty on price. I will just share one more with you. Now you can see from this that as of our study, there is a basic gap in the supplies and the demand. I know I have a far more experienced and knowledgeable person sitting here in Dr. Sharma. So I'm sure he'll have something to say on these figures. This is the CGD growth that we are talking about, which most of you all know. The only thing I'm trying to point out is that the big difference between the before the 9th and after the 9th. And you're looking at something like 3-fold growth in areas. So there can be a 1.5-fold growth in the business at least. With this, I would like to stop here because I wish to share these figures with you. Can we switch this off? Here. There are some other aspects which I would like to just touch on, and these are the availability network issues and there are only two things I would like to mention here, and that is for the speakers here as well as for the audience. See, when we look at future and what is going to happen, then first thing we start looking at is policy, and we also start looking at is, will somebody else do something for us? Now, I think the time has come when we have to look after ourselves. That's one thing. Second thing is that we have to see whether the present structure of the organizations as they are is really, the morning session was devoted to something about integration, is really is fit to take on the kind of challenges that we have. I'll come to that later after I've had speakers.